What if I told you that turning just $100 a month into over $1.4 million is not fantasy, not luck, and not even a dramatic sales pitch, but simply math, not hype, not magic, just the power of time, consistency, and the unique way Bitcoin has behaved over more than a decade? Now, before you think, there's no way that small amount can turn into something that life-changing. Stay with me. Because once you see the numbers, the timeline, and the simple strategy behind it, you might never look at your money the same way again. And by the end of this video, you might even start seeing your future self very differently. In fact, I want you to think right now. What would you do if you suddenly had $1.4 million that came from nothing more than $100 a month? Hold that thought and drop your answer in the comments at the end.
Hey, real quick, before we jump into the video, please take some time to read the full disclaimer on the screen.
Let's start with something easy to understand. Most people think you need a lot of money to build wealth. That's because they don't understand how compound growth works. We're used to thinking in straight lines, but compounding doesn't grow in a straight line. It grows in a curve. A slow, gentle curve at first, then an insane, explosive one later on. Here's where the story gets interesting. Bitcoin is not like a savings account earning a tiny percentage every year. It isn't like the stock market, which averages around 7 to 10% a year. Bitcoin, historically, even when you include every crash, every bear market, every scary headline, has averaged extremely high returns over long periods. And instead of trying to time the market, buying low, selling high, trying to guess what the price will do, there's a much simpler strategy that has outperformed most traders: buying a small, fixed amount every month. No overthinking, no charts, no fear of buying at the wrong time, just a steady deposit that removes emotion from the process. Here's where the math gets real. If someone had invested $100 every single month into Bitcoin over the past decade, through the crashes, the FUD, the hype cycles, the exchanges collapsing, all of it, they would be sitting on more than $1.4 million today. Only $100 a month. Only $12,000 total over 10 years. That is a tiny amount compared to the final number. And yes, you heard that right. $12,000 turned into more than $1 million. That doesn't mean Bitcoin will continue performing exactly like that in the future. But it does mean something powerful. Consistency beats timing. Small amounts beat big excuses. And long-term thinking destroys fear. Think about how many people spend $100 without even noticing it. A couple meals out, a few subscription services, things that disappear instantly. But that same $100, directed with purpose, has the power to reshape an entire future. Now here's something most people never consider. The biggest gains in Bitcoin have always gone to the people who simply stayed. Not the smartest, not the richest, not the ones watching charts all day, just the ones who didn't quit. Because Bitcoin's growth never happens smoothly. It happens in sudden explosions, massive jumps that reward the people who were patient. People who kept going even when others panicked. So what makes this strategy so powerful? Let's break it down in the simplest possible way. When you buy $100 of Bitcoin every month, sometimes the price is high, sometimes it's low. But when it's low, you get more Bitcoin for your $100. When it's high, you get less. Over time, this smooths out your cost and protects you from buying everything at the top. This technique is called dollar cost averaging. And when Bitcoin goes into one of its explosive cycles, usually after the halving events, the coins you bought cheaply multiply in value. That's how small amounts stack up over the years. Now imagine this. You're not putting in thousands. You're not gambling your savings. You're not trying to predict the market. You're just putting in enough to stay consistent. Something small, something manageable, something almost anyone could do. Here's a question for you. Do you think most people fail to build wealth because they don't have enough money? Or because they don't have enough patience? I want you to drop your answer in the comments. I really want to know what you think. There's another interesting detail most people ignore. Bitcoin's supply is capped at 21 million coins. There will never be more. That scarcity is a huge part of why early, consistent investors have seen such massive growth. And every 4 years, the block reward, the amount of new Bitcoin created, gets cut in half. That's the halving. Historically, the year following each halving has been explosive, not guaranteed, but historically consistent. So imagine you start today, not to get rich tomorrow, but to build something for your future self. $100 a month. That's it. Some people spend that on coffee. Some spend it on apps they forgot to cancel. What if that same $100 became the seed of $1 million future? Now let's talk emotion for a moment. Because money isn't just math, it's mindset. Most people want wealth fast, and that desire is exactly why they never get it. They chase hype. They panic sell when prices fall. They buy when things are exciting. They freeze when things get scary. But the people who win, they build habits. They build discipline. They build systems so they don't rely on motivation. Ask yourself this: how different would your life look if you knew that every month, no matter what happened, you were building long-term wealth automatically? Would your stress go down? Would your confidence go up? Would you feel more in control of your life? Share your answer in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. Now let's add another layer. The person who started investing $100 a month into Bitcoin 10 years ago didn't know it would turn into $1.4 million. They didn't have a crystal ball. They didn't know the perfect timing. They just believed in the long-term potential and stayed consistent. Anyone can do that. And here's something even crazier. Even if Bitcoin's future returns are not as extreme as its past, which is very possible, even if they are cut in half or even reduced dramatically, the results over many years could still be life-changing. Because compounding works even with smaller returns. Time is the most powerful ingredient, not luck. This is why wealthy people think in decades, not days. They play the long game. And Bitcoin, historically, has rewarded long-term thinkers. Let me ask you something important. If you started investing today, and your future self could speak to you 10 years from now, what do you think they would say? Would they thank you for starting? Would they wish you had started sooner? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I want to read what your future self might say. Now, if you're still watching, you're clearly someone interested in building a different kind of future for yourself. And because you're still here, I want to ask for a quick favor. If you're enjoying the video and it's opening your mind, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. It helps the channel out more than you know, and it helps us bring you more content like this. All right, let's go deeper into the math so you can see how powerful this really is. If you invest $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year. Over 10 years, that's $12,000 total. But because Bitcoin has had multiple bull cycles where it skyrocketed in value, the coins you bought when the price was low grew enormously later on. Some coins bought for $300 went up to $60,000. Some bought for $3,000 went up to $40,000. Every crash was followed by a bigger rise. Now imagine spreading your purchases evenly, month by month. You didn't need perfect timing. You didn't need to predict anything. You didn't need to be a genius. You just needed patience. Let me ask you something. Why do you think so many people miss out on opportunities like this? Is it fear, lack of information, distrust, or simply procrastination? Tell me in the comments. Your perspective might help someone else too. And here's something powerful. Even if the future doesn't repeat the past, the principle stays the same. Small steps, done consistently, become something massive. Wealth doesn't grow from intensity. It grows from consistency. If you can train yourself to invest a small amount every month, without overthinking it, without panicking when prices drop, and without stopping when things get boring, you're already ahead of most people. One day, you'll look back at your early contributions and realize they were the most important ones. Because those early coins had the most time to grow, And the best part? You don't need $100. That's just an example. Some people start with $25. Some start with $10. The key is starting. Let's end with a question I really want you to think deeply about. What is the version of you 10 years from now doing? What kind of life do they live? And what small decision today could make their life dramatically better? Drop your answer in the comments. I want this to spark real conversation. And if you found value in this, remember to like the video, subscribe for more content like this, and share it with someone who needs to hear how powerful small decisions can be. You have more control over your future than you think. Sometimes all it takes is $100 a month and the courage to start.